And we got Todd Stottlemyre in the house. Todd, go ahead and unmute yourself, and really appreciate you being with us today, Todd. And I'm trying to think, we met, let's see here. There's Todd. Trying to think, we met back about 4 or 5 years ago, and you ended up coming to Dallas, coming to my house, staying with me overnight. We did some coaching, and we invited Ron to go to dinner, and you brought Ron some and brought some for my kids, baseball cards. I mean, you were really generous, brought a ton of those. But Todd has such an amazing story beyond just his 15 years in the major leagues, winning 3 World Series, which is incredible. But he has built multiple businesses, built one business, $100 million business that later did not succeed. And when we did our podcast, I said, Todd, is there anything you don't want me to ask you? And you said, no, ask me anything, because, failure is part of success. And now you have probably dwarfed some of those previous things you did when you retired. And, 2 books, Relentless Success and The Observer. And dude, you just keep showing up. You inspired me, watching you speak and watching your sincere desire to grow and to become better and to impact people. And if you hadn't heard the podcast Todd and I did, we went over 2 hours, and man, talk about from the heart. And by the way, Todd, say hello, and then I've got to play something for you. I forgot to cue Sean up, but yeah.
Okay. So first of all, thanks. Appreciate it. I got to tell you, jumping on early and hearing Ron, as you know, Kyle, you introduced me to Ron. We had a great dinner. We had fun. Of course, Ron, all he wanted to do was talk about baseball. But it was fun because I'm a great fan of the sport, and I'm passionate and love to have conversation about different teams and players and that sort of thing. But I just want to say real quick for all the folks, it's so funny because I pursued Kyle Wilson, and I was like, I'm going to find a way to get to this guy. And, I was just a huge Jim Rohn fan. And I'd all the audios and books and CDs and all of the different things, the journal, I got the Jim Rohn journal, I had everything. And I kept hearing and seeing this guy, Kyle, and got to understand their connection. And I was like, man, like Jim Rohn was one of those guys, like, if someone asked you, like, who would you like to go to dinner with? Like for me, prior to him passing, I was like, man, I would love to have dinner with Jim Rohn. And, of course, we know that he's passed, rest in peace. But Kyle was just, every time you heard or seen Jim, there was Kyle. And I was like, I got to find out. And I started to dig in and learn about Kyle. And then I was like, I want Kyle to teach me. Now, Kyle didn't know me from Adam. So now I'm on the internet and emailing and social media, and I'm just pounding Kyle. And then we got on calls together, and he was gracious enough to take my calls, and it was crazy. And then he says, well, come to Dallas. And I was like, I'm coming. And we booked a time. And then, it was so cool because we talked through the night, got to stay at his house, go to dinner with Ron. It was unbelievable. And, I really got into personal development because of Jim Rohn, but I got into, growing and serving because of Kyle Wilson. Kyle, you have influenced my life so many more ways than you'll ever know. You have been an incredible human being to me personally. Anytime I've reached out and said, Kyle, will you endorse this? Will you do this? You've just been so gracious. I'm so appreciative. I'm humbled, by the way. And I'm humbled and that I get to be on here with Kyle and all of you, but I get to follow Ron White. And I'm like, because I think very similar about Ron, and Ron is in the same tone, is like, he's been so gracious. And when I launched my book, I said, Ron, and he says, let's do a show and let's do the baseball community. And what's funny is on that show, he had guys buying hundreds of books in pre-order. And it was, and you know, look, I didn't go into it thinking, hey, let me go sell books. But that's what happened. And the reason it happened, and I don't mean to talk so much, Kyle, I'll turn it back to you. But the reason it happened was because when Ron was talking about introvert, extrovert, and he could make a lot more money as an extrovert. But you know what Ron has done is he stayed true to his authentic self, which is why we all love him. It's exactly what Kyle's done. You see, when someone stays true to their authentic self, no matter who's around, no matter what the opportunities are, but you sell out and you own your authenticity, then everything else falls and is positioned where it should be. I got to tell you, I got goosebumps because I'm fired up about hanging out, following Ron White, hanging out with Kyle Wilson, hanging out with all of you. I don't want to disappoint. Following Ron White is a tough act, man. And I got a chance to do an event with him. And when he started doing the whole name thing, I was like, what in the hell was going on in this place? It was unbelievable. I mean, he blew me away. And I was funny because it was my audience. And he remembered the names of some of the people in my audience that I had met and been around, and I couldn't remember their names. And I was like, wow, this guy's genius level. Kyle, thanks, man, for having me. Ron, Todd, you're a champion, bro. Champion.
Todd, I love your heart. You know, the passion is so there. Your heart is so there. You just keep showing up. And, you know, you talk about, you've been in 3 of the books with me, Resilience and Success Habits, and Purpose, Passion, Profit. And you tell the story of waking up one morning and saying, I got to get out of this business that you were in that was very, very, very lucrative, and really trying to follow your path. And you also tell the story in our podcast about, you know, losing your dad, losing your brother, and you got very emotional. So I know you're from the heart, and there's so many directions we could go today, Todd. I'm kind of making today more about entrepreneurism, although, you know, I can talk baseball too. You know, I love, there's so much to learn from Todd baseball wise about mindset. So I think on cue, I'm going to play a quick clip. Todd's part of our upcoming Success Mindset Smooth Mix that's released August 17th. So Sean might have to do screen share. I don't know, but Sean's going to play a couple of minutes of this. Check this out. Check out the message.
I'm just going to go all in. I'm just going to do everything I can to just try to get better. I'm just going to try to get better every single day. And then if I fail, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. If I fail, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay failing in front of the whole world, and they can say what they want, but at least I'll know I went all in on my dream. And if me going all in on my dream and doing what I believe is the right thing, then I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to be okay with that. I'll be okay. I'm just going to go all in. I'm just going to do everything I can to just try to get better. And then I'll call it a lesson and move on. But if I succeed, I get to succeed in front of those same people telling me I'm not like my father and I'm not good enough. I'm just going to go all in. I'm just going to get a little bit better every single day. I'm just going to try to get better every single day. And then if I fail, I'll be okay. If I fail, I'll be okay. When things are down, it sounds so easy to think positive. Hey, go back to your vision, go back to your dream. And by the way, it's right. It's just not easy. It's difficult, especially when you feel like, man, everything is against you. It's just not easy. And I pulled into Syracuse, New York. I pulled into MacArthur Stadium. It was about 6 a.m, sun's coming up. Obviously no one's there. It's a minor league stadium. I'm the only one in the parking lot. I'm tired, I've been up all night, tired. And I'm just like, I'm at wit's end with this whole baseball thing, you know, and I'm kind of dozing off a little bit, and then I kind of come to, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go all in. I'm just gonna be the first one in the stadium. I'm gonna be the last one to leave. I'm just gonna do everything I can to just try to get better. I'm just gonna try to get better every single day. And then if I fail, I'll be okay. I'll be okay failing in front of the whole world, and they can say what they want, but at least I'll know I went all in on my dream. And if me going all in on my dream and doing what I believe is the right, then I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna be okay with that. And I'll call it a lesson and move on. But if I succeed, I get to succeed in front of those same people telling me I'm not good enough. And I went all in. And here's what's crazy. The only time I can think during my whole amateur baseball career, professional career, minor league career, it was the only moment where I started to have self-doubt. It was the time where I was almost walked away. And you know that at that moment, what I didn't realize that 30 days later, I got called out to the big leagues. See, I couldn't see around the corner. I couldn't see the next 30 days. I didn't have the vision that I was going to get called back, that I was going to play 15 years. I was going to land on 3 world championship teams, that I was going to get overpaid by tens of millions of dollars. I didn't know I was going to play for a Hall of Fame manager. I didn't know a lot of my teammates were going to go to the Hall of Fame. I couldn't see any of that because I was ready to quit. I was ready to quit. I was ready to quit.
Okay, Sean.
I couldn't see. I didn't have that vision. I just said, I'm just going to go all in.
Wow. Todd. Oh my God. Let's give Todd a hand. What a great message. Dude, someone shared earlier, because they had overcome something, it gives them confidence that they can overcome anything now. And I remember that from the interview. You said because you had overcome that and you didn't know what it was going to be, but because you pressed through, you went all in, that now no matter what obstacle happens the rest of your life, you have confidence that if you'll just go all in, you can potentially, overcome it. So
there's always a way. And if I'm beating my head against the wall, or if I find myself on that treadmill, and if I find my place landing in the same place over and over and over, and if I find myself, where it's like, am I ever going to break through this? It's kind of like, yeah, as long as you're persistent and resilient and relentless, you're just not going to do it the way you've been doing it, which means we got to learn a new way. We got to learn a new strategy. You see, but we already know it's possible. And I, when I decided to go all in, it was like, okay, it hasn't worked for me yet. It just means I need to get better. It doesn't mean I need to quit. And I got to tell you, I get challenged a lot of times on don't quit, when I say, man, you just, and I get challenged in ways where people say, and I've been challenged by some people very high up in the industry. They say, well, Todd, some people should quit. And I'm like, huh. And I go, I don't really understand. And then this gentleman explained further. He said, some people, it's not their gift and they need to move on. Maybe that's the case. But here's what I believe. If it's in your heart, if that dream is alive, if you have passion and you quit, you walk away from your purpose in life, and you're going to get to the last hour, never living the life you were supposed to live. And I just don't want any part of that. So I would rather go to capacity. What's capacity? To the point where my body shakes so bad I can't take another step. Where I know that if I don't lay down, I'm in big trouble health-wise in 6 hours from now. That's pursuing and chasing capacity. Like, no, And it's like, I was just telling my 20-year-old daughter who works for me, and she's taken over operations of one of our business. I said, listen, here's the key. The key is going all in, putting yourself out there, knowing there's great chance you're going to have days where you look stupid. Are you still willing to go play the game? Because if you are not willing to go play the game on a daily basis, knowing you're going to fall down, knowing you're going to have roadblocks and walls, and knowing there are going to be times of where self-doubt could creep in, if you don't go play that game, then you'll never get to a place where you discover the champion that lives in you. I don't want to sound cliche, but it's like, when I'm willing to put myself out there, knowing there's a hell of a chance I'm going to fail today because I need to grow to where I need to go. And if I need to grow to where I need to go, the only way for me to get that growth to where I need to go is I need to go out and fall on my face. And I need to be able to have the courage to fall on my face while everyone watches and gives me their Mickey Mouse opinions based on what I'm doing. I'm kind of like, bring it on. I had an agent one time, he asked me, he said, Todd, after the game of baseball, he says, how in the world have you done these things that you've done? He says, all of my clients, all they want to do is go back and be minor league coaches, make $40,000 a year, go through a divorce, but they stay in that comfortable place of the game they know. I said, because I chose to live uncomfortable for the rest of my life, which means we take on industries I know nothing about. But what I've learned is there are patterns and success leaves clues. We all know this. And I have used reflections. I've used people like mentorship, like Kyle and Ron. I've used my sport, where you got to learn to be a teammate, a leader, where you got to, all of those things that are reflected on to play and be a part of championship teams. It works exactly, by the way, exactly the same way in business and entrepreneurship. Exactly.
Love it. I want to remind everyone, take a picture with Todd, have him and the speaker take a picture, post it on social media. Todd, would you be willing to sign a couple of books for people?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You just say what you want. Done.
Well, what I'll do is I'll take some of the people that post on social and we'll sign some books and send it to them.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Of course.
But so make sure and do take a picture with Todd. And Todd, I'm going to tie a couple of things that what you just said made me think about, and you can answer them both or answer them separately. But I thought of two things when you were saying that. Number one, yes, baseball, you talk about scrutiny. And so most of us, we think if we're doing a post on social media, we're really putting ourselves out there. But when you're a baseball player, when you're the son of a Hall of Fame baseball player with the Yankees, the scrutiny's unbelievable. And then you had some years, and you talk about on the podcast where that was really things related to losing your little brother and you feeling like responsible just because you were the bone marrow provider for him. But do you think going through that level of scrutiny has really just given you such a tough skin that you don't even worry about what people think? And the second part, which is different, but coming from a team sport like baseball, that there's so many different pieces to the team, has that helped you in business knowing you can't do it yourself? Like you're not a golfer or a tennis player, you're a baseball player where it takes a team and you go search out having a great team.
Wow. So much there. The answer to the first question is it's really based on other people's opinions and how we value those, what they mean to us. Do they stop us from taking a step, going to the next place of action and this and that? And because, my brothers and I, we grew up where in the shadow of my father, who was really, truly a legend. And man, he's, just so you guys know, it's like, he's my best friend. He was my father. He was my brother. He was my best friend. He was my mentor. He's my coach. He was my hero. And God rest his soul and rest in peace, Pops. And I miss him. I miss him so much because there's so many things, because we were so close. There's so many times in life where it's like, hey, I want to call him and I want to share something. And it's like, in that empty hole of not being able to call my father, I'm sure someone on here feels the same way I do. It's like, it's brutal, man. And, but growing up in that atmosphere and being told my entire life, just like my brothers, that we're not like our father, and what are we going to do when we don't make it? And it's like, it was just a part of it. It's kind of like, as we were growing up, it was like going to the School of Champions when we get to hang around my father and his teammates, because we got to learn. Because listen, Mickey Mantle was one of the all-time greats, and I got to stand in the outfield grass right next to him during batting practice, and Mickey Mantle was like a friend, but Mickey was also booed. And when he was booed, I didn't have the awareness at 6, 7, 8 years old to say, I wonder how Mickey's responding, but it's like, as you go back in time, and it's like just being around and watching in that environment, how people act, whether they do. Look, we all have heard this. You become your environment. Look, we became our environment. It's not like I ever thought, like, why is it that I just don't care what you think about me or my dream? Now, I want you to like me, but if you don't, I understand. That's okay. I mean, because I know that when I walked into a stadium, half the people like you, half the people hate you. And it's just the way it is. And guess what? Half the people are cheering for you, half of them are cheering against you. Guess what? In life, it's very similar. and are you okay? And it kind of goes back to, are you okay putting yourself out there knowing you could be ridiculed, or knowing? And, you said something very important, Kyle. You said, we think we're putting ourselves out there when we put a post on social media. Actually, I believe we're hiding when we put a post out on social media. I'm going to say it this way. I don't mean that we shouldn't make posts and we shouldn't be encouraging people and we shouldn't spread the powerful news. I just want you to be able to share that powerful news in person when everyone thinks you're full of crap. Can you still share it? See, watch this. How many times in your life, I want you to think about it, has somebody walked up, or a friend, or maybe somebody close to you, this and that, and you get into a conversation, and either you or that person wants to share something with you, and here's what happened. Before they speak, they go like this. They look around. Why are they looking around? I'm going to tell you why they're looking around. Because what they're saying or what they're going to say is garbage. And what they're really saying is, I can't be my authentic self in public. I'd rather just be my authentic self in public. And this is who I am. This is what I stand for. It's okay if you don't stand for what I stand for. We can still be friends. I can learn from you. You can learn from me. Together, we can get better. That's totally okay. It's really about, that's why I wrote the book, The Observer. Because look, and when you think about that piece, think about it this way. See, I'm okay when people attack. Listen, I've seen some of the most unbelievable people go out of their way to post on something I put out there. And they are like, they're so nasty sometimes. And I remember an incident, this guy from my hometown, he kept attacking me. And all over social media on my stuff, he would comment on my post so everyone could see it. And my wife one day, and she went in and deleted it. And I come home and she's like, I couldn't take it anymore. I go, you couldn't take what? She goes, I couldn't take that guy. It's not fair. He's attacking you. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, the guy on Facebook. I said, oh, hon, I said, it's okay. I said, let him be him. It's totally okay. And I go, and it doesn't bother me. She goes, well, I deleted him. I went, oh, no. You cannot delete that man's voice. Let him be heard. And if that makes him feel good, it's okay. His negative comments to me have no bearing on how I feel about what I'm doing or whether I'm going to continue to post or what. I'm okay. And because she deleted it, he began the attack. He just continued and continued. And you see, here's what I would tell you. What are you going to own that you're going to feed? I'm not going to go own someone else's opinions. I'm going to own mine, but I will have respect for other people's opinions. I want you to think about 2020 just for a second. As we went through 2020, we had a pandemic. Some people believed in masks. Some people didn't believe in masks. Some people said COVID was this. Others said COVID was that. Think about politics. Some people said the Democrats are crazy. The Republicans are crazy. Think about race. Listen, makes me so sad to think about race. But I want you to think about 2020, the race wars, the politic wars, the pandemic wars. And if you're wearing a mask and I'm not wearing a mask, that person wearing a mask all of a sudden wants to accuse me of something that I don't, whatever. If I'm wearing a mask or I'm not wearing, and all of a sudden there's hate. Instead of understanding there's hate. See, when this stimulus is going on, so if you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, Democrats hate Republicans, Republicans hate Democrats. Let me say it better. I'm gonna tell you, I watched families in 2020 break up because of a difference of a political agenda. What a freaking shame. How about this one? You got a different opinion? You got a different opinion? You got a different stance? Let me see if I can learn something from you. I don't believe that. I don't think that, but maybe I don't have all the understanding that you have. For an example, when it comes to race, easy for me to stand on a pedestal and tell you I don't see color, but I'm white. I'm white. If I was black, would I make the same statement? I don't know, because I'm not black. So I need to open my heart and my mind and understanding to how that black man or that black woman feels about what's going on, because I don't feel what they feel. So I need to keep my stupid ass opinion to myself, open my ears, close my mouth and say, man, how does it make you feel? What is going on? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I've never seen color. I've never seen race. I've never seen religion. I've never seen culture. I've never stood on a pedestal and say, if you don't believe in me, if you're not white, if you're not a Christian, if you're not this, we can't get along. Listen, that's the problem. We were formed in this country and we have opportunity because we became a melting pot in the world. And now all of a sudden we have so much race and bipartisan. It's like, it's just, all right. I don't
Todd,
Kyle, I'm sorry. I got on a
tangent. No, it's good, brother. I love everything you're saying. Do you think playing in sports helped you
big time
create this opinion of understanding? You get to be around so many different people. And
the Alou brothers. I've been around people from Venezuela and Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and Jamaica. And I played with white people and black people and Asian people. And I played with people from every country around the world. And the reason I've never really understood the whole race piece from that perspective is because I could never get it. And here's why I couldn't get it. It's not that I don't understand there's turmoil. Not that there's not a problem. There's a problem. But here's what I know. We had people from Asia, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Canada, United States, every race, religion, culture, and different color skin, as 25 people on that team come together and share in the same vision. Share in the same vision. And it's like, wow, if people from all those countries, all those cultures, all those races, all those religions can come together for a single goal, then this is my lack of understanding is, why are we still being stuck in the 60s, for God's sakes? I'm gonna tell you what I did. I took time in 2020. I said, I wouldn't pull up, let me tell you, you want to see something, you guys want to see something gross? Go pull up the New York Times headlines from 1960 to 1969. It is freaking gross, man. So my point is like, I look at all of these things and instead of just boom, latching out, it's like, man, let me try to understand. And it's like, let me tell you something. My best friend in Major League Baseball was a black man. and we got thrown in jail together. And we were mistreated and this, and I can go on and on. And I was like, wow. And at that point in my life, I was like, this is what these people see. And it opened my eyes up to a world I've heard about it existing. I just didn't know it existed in that way. I've heard about it, but now I've been a part of it. And me and this man that was my mentor, my best friend in the sport, who was 10 years older, had a different color skin, we were beaten on the streets. And I was like, wow. So other people's opinions, without me going way down the road, and I apologize for going way down the road on that one. Let me get back to your second question for a second. And
no apologies needed. And you're talking about Dave Stewart, right? And in the podcast, you told that story, and you also talked about.
I take a bullet for him.
Yeah, and you also talked about when you went to spring training, and you're just thinking, get through the day. And he's talking about when you're jogging every day, about he's visualizing striking out like he took you to a whole new level of, and the only reason I'm playing off this is this morning we talked about intentions, visualizing, and he was the guy that brought you into that realm in baseball, right? To think beyond just, hey, we're trying to get through today. He's jogging, visualizing, having a phenomenal baseball year. Not to redirect, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was awesome, because what I realized on that run, and when we got done with our run, and on first day of spring training, and it was our first day being teammates, and we went on. He asked me if I wanted to go on a run with him. This was already after conditioning and everything on the field, and I was like, man, I admired, had so much respect for this guy. And we went on this run, and I was like, man. And all I could think about on the run, and I'll shorten it, it was like, how far is this guy going to run? It's Dunedin, Florida. It's humid. We're wearing these jackets, sweat's pouring off of us. And this guy, Dave Stewart, man, is a 4-time 20-game winner. He's a stud. I look up to him. He's not saying a word, and he's just laser focused, and he's just pounding the street. And I'm like, oh, man, like, how far is this guy going to go? Because we got to run all the way back to the stadium, you see, when we finally turn around. And he finally turned around, and I remember saying to myself, thank God. But we got to run all the way back. And all I could think about on every stride is like how my legs were pounding. And I my mind is going, a million. So we get into the stadium, and he says, Todd, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah, man. He goes, what'd you think about on that run? And I said, Dave, all I could think about on that run was, how far is this guy going to run? And he laughed, man. He laughed. And I had looked up to him so much. And we got to the clubhouse, when he opened the door, and I had the courage. I said, Dave, man, tell me, what'd you think about on that run? He says, man, I'm glad you asked, Todd. He said, you see, on every stride, I was visualizing and seeing myself make the perfect pitch. I was striking guys out. I was throwing no hitters. I was competing against real teams, real major league hitters, seeing myself in different stadiums. And he said, you see, Todd, he says, I'm going to have a great year. He says, but me having a great year is not enough. I also need you to have a great year. Let me talk to the entrepreneurs. It's not just about you having a great year. Can you help other people on your team have a great year? Zig Ziglar said it best. Help enough get what they want, you get what you want. But will you truly drop your ego at the door and be okay with helping someone else have a better year than you? Uh-oh. Watch out. See, I'm training, and I tell my kids and the people I train, and they'll say, man, you did this and you did this. I say, stop with what I did. I'm going to help you do 10 more times more than I've ever done in my entire life. Is that okay with you if I help you become better than I was? See, that was my father. My father, let me help you become the best version of yourself. So, and that was Dave Stewart. And through visualization, here's the other thing for the entrepreneurs, visualization. The more clear you can see it, the more specific you can create that beautiful story of you winning, and you have these customers and they love your company, whatever it is. And the more you play and rewind that, let me tell you what's happening to you. You ready? You are building belief in the story. People always say, well, what comes first? Believe this and that. I said, visualization creates belief. How do I know this? Because I seen myself as an athlete because of Dave Stewart, because of what he taught me. I visualized, I played it over and over and over and over and over. And when I stood on the mound and Barry Bonds showed up at the plate, I believed I was destined to get him out. And I did not fear his greatness. Why? Because I'd already played it in my head so many times. When I got to the mound in real life, I had belief. Now let's get real world for a second. Let's think about it. I'm telling you right now, that's the greatest hit, maybe the greatest hitter of all time. I don't know because I didn't play all time. In my 15-year career, he was head and shoulders above every other major league hitter in baseball, bar none, with or without steroids, or with or without your opinion. I'm telling you, I faced them all in 15 years, head and shoulders above them. And then when you look at his talent and my talent, I'm not supposed to get him out, but I believed I would dominate that guy because of the story I played in my head. I built belief, not on logic, but on a story I created. If you are not visualizing, you're missing out on a level of success you're never going to attain.
So Todd is giving so much gold. Just a couple of reminders. If you have a question, raise your hand, and it can be something specific to what Todd's talking about today. It can be from hearing the podcast or when he spoke last year or reading his stories in the book. I love the questions or the question behind the question. So again, just whatever you have on your mind, ask Todd. He has given so many gold nuggets. Give him some love in the chat. Some of the things he's saying that's really resonating with you, because it's a good reminder for all of us. At the end of the day, Todd, we always go back and review some of the key thoughts we got. And man, I love the authenticity. I love you sharing from the heart, and everything that's coming out's powerful. And here's why: you've lived it. And that's where I have such a great appreciation for athletes, for coaches. We had Kevin Eastman on, and Kevin, first of all, you got a billionaire owner. Second of all, you got 100 millionaire players. Third of all, you got outrageous fans who think they're smarter than you. And you do that for 20 years and you play 80 games a year. You're going to have endless amounts of experiences to pull from, right? You're not going to pull from a book you read. You're going to pull from your own experience of whatever that may be. And Todd, I know you just have so much in you, and you've been able to translate that into business. I'm happy to talk about any of it because it's gold. But what's on your heart? Do you want to talk?
Yeah,
what's going on these days with business, or what's on your heart?
Well, I want to share something that could be valuable to someone.
Okay.
Here that as they're maybe they're building a company or building a business, and man, I'll just tell you guys, and I've been blessed so many times. I pinch myself. I'll just tell you, my morning routine is spending some time with, my maker, and that's the first thing I do every morning. And, and I take some time to pray, and I pray with whatever's on my heart, what's going on in the world. Who can I be praying for? Who can I serve through a prayer? And then I go from that place to a place of, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'm just throwing some stuff out there. But I do have something on entrepreneurship here in a minute. But then I spend about 30 minutes to 60 minutes on an audio off of a podcast, right? So if you're looking for a great podcast, look no further than Kyle Wilson's podcast. And not because he interviewed me, because of all the greats he actually interviewed. I was the throw-in. Okay, but my point is like, look, man, and then I pull out my journal and I capture what I believe are the great thoughts from that audio at that particular time. And I write them down. And when I write them down, and then I meditate on those, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to go try that. So here's what I want to guard. Anything I say, if you say, man, that's awesome, and then you go try it and you say to yourself, didn't really work the way it worked for Todd, that's okay. Not everyone's feet fit in the shoe exactly. When I share something with you, I just want it to be your foundation, the bottom. I want you to take anything that I might say or Kyle might say or Ron might say, go take that idea, that concept, go try it out, go make it better, go 10 times that thing so that it fits you perfectly. This is the beauty of an idea. Let me give you an idea with building a company. And let me tell you something, I've battled this lots. People ask me all the time, Todd, what's the difference between winning and losing? Are you ready?
Yes.
It's so simple. It's simple. Here it is. The difference between winning and losing is always the people. Now watch. In 1991, we believed we had the team to win a world championship, but we ran into a buzzsaw in Minnesota against the Twins, and they went on to win the championship. We beat up on the Twins all year. And people say, I don't know, what was the difference between that 91 team and that 92 team? The people. The people. Okay, now, here's the other thing I want you to think about on people. Are the people and are you in a place and are you the right person in the right place inside that company to propel it to a higher and better level? So you got to not only have the right people, they got to be in the right places. For an example, I could not play shortstop. Could you imagine if I was the shortstop for the 1992-1993 Toronto Blue Jays? I promise you, we would not have won a world championship, but I was a right person amongst 25. I just had to play the right role. So it's not only have the right people, they got to play the right roles. And so many times people, I see it in companies and they're like, man, why won't those people just do? Why won't that person just do? And I'm like, because that person's in the wrong role. They're not even happy. By the way, that person hates their job. But if you take that person and you say to that person and you ask these two questions, question number one to that person is, what is it that you want? What do you want? I mean, think about entrepreneurs. How many times have we asked the people that are working with us, hey, what do you want? Number two is, what are you willing to bring to the table so that us working together, I can help you and you can help me so we can get what you want out of this opportunity. See, because if that opportunity won't get or help, or we can't even get to that person's what they want, you might as well cut them today. What do you want? So I would tell you sports, business, service, humanity, it's always the people. It's always the people. So one of the things I learned about, teams and team sports, and, Kyle mentioned golfers. I'm going to tell you something. Watch a golfer win and watch who they think when they win. Who do they think? The people on their team, because they didn't get there by themselves. See, someone coached the mind, someone coached the swing. There are multiple coaches, lots of coaches around the golfer. Watch a tennis champion. Look for the coaches. Look for the mentors of that tennis. So it's like an individual sport, no such thing, because underneath the person performing on the field, there's an entire team helping that person become the best version of themselves so they can become a champion. I'm probably going to apologize for this, but there's no such thing as an individual sport. It's always about people and it's always about team. Always. I hear people all the time say, man, I'm self-made. I'm like, well, there's mistake number one. I said, how are you self-made? They said, well, I created this. And I said, did you sell any goods? They said, yeah. And I had all these customers. I said, see, all those customers helped made you. There's no such thing. I'll tell you what we used to say in the locker room. Drop your freaking ego at the door and let's go to work. Quit. And it's like, look, Kyle mentioned it, social media. Well, you know one thing I like about Kyle? This is just one of the things I like about Kyle. And by the way, not like about Kyle, like I love Kyle Wilson. But I'm gonna tell you one of the things I love about him. You're never gonna hear him pounding his chest. That guy's been around the brightest self-development, performance, high performance business leaders in the world. And he's not going, hey, look at me. Look at me, look at me. You know what Kyle's doing? Let me help you. Let me serve you. Hey, let me show you what I got from Robin. Let me show you what I got from Tony. Let me show you what I got from Kyle. Hey, let me show you what I got from this guy. Hey, let me show you what we did here. Let me show you what this guy said. Let me show you about this. Hey, does this help you? I'm like, that's Kyle Wilson. That's the champion. That's the champion. All right, I could go. Listen,
well,
man,
Todd,
look, man, you're going to get me all fired up today.
No,
Kyle. See, that's the problem. When I get
love
around
that,
Kyle, my energy rises. See, some people, when they come around you, right? So some people, when you're around some people, you're kind of like, oh. And then sometimes when you're around other people, you're like, whew, you're ready. Kyle does something to my energy that most people can't do. Look, I'm gonna tell you something. I got 2 hours of sleep last night because I promised an entrepreneur in New York that I would get up at 4:30, and that means I went to bed at 2:30. That's not normal my schedule, so I don't want to pretend like it is, because I'm not a believer in working around the clock. But it just so happened it was really late. I got up at 4:30 because I promised this guy that I've been working with that I would get on his some group networking, because he was delivering a speech, and it was real important to him that I would listen to him give his speech. And I was like, I got up at 4:30. So here it is, it's 12:54 out here in Arizona, on 2 hours of sleep, getting up at 4:30 with the schedule that I keep with all of our companies. Normally I would be tired, but Kyle has it's like I'm hooked up to the battery charger. It's like he's a battery charger, right? And man, I'm like, he asked me a question and I could have been dead tired. All of a sudden I'm fired up. That, by the way, that's a gift. And you guys know, because you're in his inner circle, you feel that gift that he brings to the table, man. It's so awesome. Kyle, you're awesome, bro.
Well, Todd, I'm glad I'm recording this. Thank you. I'll definitely pull that out and use it on YouTube.
Hey, you can use that in the song.
Yeah. Hey,
you're awesome.
Yeah, I
you're
like
awesome.
that.
You're awesome. All right, I got too much coffee in me. All
No,
right.
this is awesome. I know Diana has a question. And then I have another question for you. If you guys have a question for Todd, raise your hand. And Todd, by the way, thank you for that. I so appreciate it. And I love your passion, authenticity. And dude, you got it. You got the wisdom. So I so appreciate the time today of you letting us tap into it. So Diana, what do you got?
I apologize, because sometimes someone will ask me a question and it's like 15 minutes later.
But it's gold.
Fired up.
No,
unless I don't know anything about the question, I'm not going to, I'll be just like, I don't have any.
No.
Look, you ask me a question, I might go, man, I don't know. If you find out, call me, because I want to know.
But what you're sharing is gold.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
So Diana.
Okay. You're on fire, Todd. So please don't apologize. Yes. I think you're dropping gold nuggets like crazy and inspiring all of us. My question is, I am also a huge baseball fan. For those who know me, I'm a big St. Louis Cardinal fan. Yeah. And which I remember the days when you pitched for them. But here's my question. This involves around baseball, but it involves emotions and leadership. The trading deadline is coming up in a week. And there are so many teams, like for the Cardinals, for example. Are they going to be buyers, sellers, or stay pat? The Rangers here in town. What is going on right now in locker rooms behind the scenes where there's rumors and things? And I'm sure the players hear them. How do players on these various teams handle the rumors, whether they're involved or their friends are involved? And then how do they stay focused and continue to perform? And how can we take those life lessons for when distractions are hitting us like that? How can we keep performing and not let things like that get in the way?
Oh, The reason I took a deep breath is like, man, I could talk for 3 days on that question. I'm trying to, so let me just take a moment, and I'm going to try to keep it very specific. All those questions you just asked are so important, because what they boil down to is, how do you deal with uncertainty and how do you deal with the unknown? And then you're exactly right. All the guys that potentially could be traded, they're aware. And the reason they're aware is because the MLB network is talking about it. Some of the analysts are talking about it. It's all over ESPN. Those guys know exactly. And here's the other thing. Every guy that's in the last year of a multi-year contract that's playing on a team that can't win is on the block. It's just part of the game. For an example, when I was in St. Louis in '98, Mr. DeWitt, the owner, sent Walt Jockey, the general manager, and we were been negotiating. And here's what he said. Walt came to me, and we've been negotiating for about 3 weeks. And he said, listen, Mr. DeWitt said, if you don't take this deal, we're going to trade you. I said, Walt, man, it has been so awesome playing for you. I guess you guys are trading me. He goes, does that mean you're not taking the deal? I said, that's exactly what that means. And what had nothing to do with the money. And I won't go into that story, but how do you focus with the unknown and with the uncertainty? This is so important. This might be the greatest question of the year for me that someone's given to me. And here it is. You've heard it before. You have to get present in this very moment. And in this very moment, the question you ask yourself is, what is it that I need to do right now? I'll give you an example. 1 week before the deadline, trading deadlines, the unknowns, the uncertainties. Will I be a Ranger? Will I be a Cardinal? Will I be a Yankee? And if you spend time going through all of the unknown in your mind, and it steals your performance in the moment, let me explain what happens. And then you finally get to the trading deadline, and it's different from the story you've been playing in your mind. And you'll realize that not only was it a waste of time, it was a waste of performance. It's kind of like when people start to play something, this unknown world, or it's like, what happens if this happens? Or, oh my Lord, there's another strand of COVID. And it's like, and you can play this in your head and then it never affect you, but you spent so much time, energy, and passion on something that's not even gonna happen. So here it is. That, as a major league player, believe it or not, it's another one of those things where you grow callous skin, because here's the irony of this whole deal is that any day you could be gone. Let me tell you, let me get real. At any moment, doesn't matter whether there's a deadline or not, you could be done. You could be traded. You could get injured. They might decide, hey, I'm going to bring up a young player. You're gone. You're released at any moment. And here's how we live. You're not as good as your last performance. You're only as good as your next one. Think about how many times someone said, hey, you're only as good as your last one. I'm like, oh, your last one is done. You're not that good until you show me you're that good today. And what does that mean? That means I got to take the unknown world, the uncertainty, all of those opinions, all of the reports, all of the worry, all of the concern, and block it out and get in the moment. And here's how we get in the moment. What is it right now, right this moment? What do I need to do? And let me back it up with this. If you spend any energy on something out of your control, you are wasting your time and productivity. My father used to say all the time. We'd be on an airplane going through turbulence, and it's like, man, I'm cinched up, and I'm like, I start wondering, is this it? Does the plane go? I start looking around and I'm like, man, does it look like it's anybody's last day on this plane? I'm like, is God going to take these people today? Right. And my dad would be like, son, it's like, can you control? No. Why are you so wrapped up in the things you can't control? So as entrepreneurs, as business people, as whatever it is, it's like this COVID thing. Could you control COVID, whether it hit your community, whether you got it, didn't get it, and this and that? It's like, hey, man, I'm going to tell you something. We, as a family, we had probably our best year we had in decades. And you might say, man, Todd, that's so brutal. Like people lost their lives. I say, I know, I understand, I get it. And my heart goes out to those families. But for our family, we got closer than ever. It's like, we had one of the most incredible years when everyone else is going through hell. And I'm like, man, I can't control it. I can't control it. So I'm not going to waste any time and energy on the things I can't control. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get present with right now. Now, here's present. Here's present. Presence is getting in touch with this very breath. Presence is not 10 seconds ago. Presence is not trying to figure out what I said 3 sentences ago. Presence is this. Do me a favor. You guys ready? Everyone, take a deep breath through your nose. Hold it. Let it out. Okay, now watch. Now, this next time as you take this deep breath, I just want you to think about the breath. Hold it. Blow it out. That's a gift. What are you going to do with it? That's a gift. That breath is a gift. What are you going to do with the gift? Man, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you find yourself being caught up in something you can't control, go get quiet with yourself. Or if you find a place of anxiety or overwhelm or uncertainty, and it's like, are they going to trade me? Are they going to do this? Is my company going to make it? Am I going to make these reports? Oh my God, how am I going to pay for this mortgage? And this, if you get to this place ever in your life, go get quiet, get centered, focus on the breath, be grateful for the moment, sit back, an idea and strategy begins to come to you because the anxiety over the lack of control was blocking all of the creativity and opportunity for a new strategy to go do something different. That is the way out. But you're closing the doors to all of that when we're so hung up with something else. So let me come back and close on the question. Yes, those players know. But I'm going to tell you something. If they take what they can't control into a Major League Baseball game tonight, they are going to get embarrassed tonight because the game is too damn hard. And if you're not on, I promise you, I've gone to the mound and I've given up 11 runs as a Major League pitcher. And I spent most of my time backing up third base with everyone above the third base dugout just screaming at me. And it would be like, oh, I got to go over there again because no edge, not getting anyone out. It's not fun. It's brutal. There's nowhere to hide. Well, see, when you're a Major League Baseball pitcher, you're having a bad day. Everyone knows. The left fielder can go 0 for 4. He can boot a ball. He can throw a ball away. As soon as the moment's over, no one's looking at him again. That pitcher on the mound, he walked out with a ring around his deal. And it's either I'm going to shield him with getting presence, my focus, my concentration on what I need to do now, or I'm going to take bullets. You can't do both.
So got final question here from Jim Gardner. Jim, you might be muted. So
Jim's muted.
All right.
There you go, Jim.
All right. So Todd, first of all, thank you. I've been blessed to be a part of your mastermind for the last year. And just for those who maybe this is the first time experience with Todd, this is what you get 24/7 with Todd. I've worked with a lot of elite athletes, and Todd is truly authentic every moment of his day. So, really appreciate that authenticity as Kyle had mentioned. So my question is, with what seems to have become a big term recently, being identity, and working with a lot of professional elite athletes who start playing a sport when they're 6 years old, that becomes their identity. So we find that also in the workplace, entrepreneurs, corporate world, whatever. So can you talk a little bit about, being at that level, how you transitioned and how you see, the buffer, if you will, to be able to not claim that identity in what it is that you do, but who it is that you're trying to become?
So, man, Jim, that's another one. It's like, man, I could do 3 days on this. That's so awesome. By the way, thank you, both of you. Jim, that's so awesome, because this is a big problem in sports. See, it's a big problem because when you're done playing, a lot of the guys still believe they can play. The problem is no one wants them. Okay, so that's problem number one. Problem number two, you're right. Their whole identity is, I'm a baseball player, right? And I would tell you that 6 months, even though when I left the game, I left it knowing I left every pitch on the field, okay? But still, and I remember I was going to take a year off, and inside of that year, I found myself about month 4 struggling to get sleep. I was battling myself, because I was like, and I would say to myself, I'm a baseball player, but now what? Like, what am I? Right? And it was kind of like, what am I going to do next? What am I going to attach to? What am I, and Jim, it's this way. What am I going to become? Am I going to become this? And then that becomes my new identity. Okay, now you ready? It took me a while, I don't want to say like, this wasn't an overnight thing, right? I'm a human being that played baseball, but my identity is I'm Todd, who played the game. So I remember one time someone said, Todd, it's like, you're a speaker and you're a person of service who actually happened to play the game of baseball. You're not actually a baseball player. I was like, wow, that's so nice of you. Thank you so much. But I'm not really a speaker, but I am a storyteller, but I'm not like a motivational speaker, right? I'm going to tell you stories, hope you get something, maybe it makes an impact, right? So the identity, and I got to a place, and it's like, then my identity was my bank account, the neighborhood I lived in, the car I drove. Think about it. I want to tell you guys something. I'm wealthier. I don't tell you that. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm wealthier today than I've ever been in my entire life. Matter of fact, you ready? I'm 10 times financially wealthier than in my baseball career. And it's not even close to important to me. Because I'm not wrapping my wealth up around what I drive, where I live, the neighborhood. I'm not. Listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. You're going to laugh. People say to me all the time, like, dude, like, when are you going to get a new car? I go, for what? I don't even like to drive. You want me to go spend $200,000 on a car when I don't even like to drive? Like, are you crazy? Like, listen, I'm the guy where me and my wife go out to dinner and I'm like, hon, you got it. And there's a reason, because when I'm in a car, if I'm driving, I got to pay attention. But if I'm in the passenger seat, I can be productive. And I'm like, driving's a waste of my time. So why do I got to have a nice car to waste my time? I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need someone to say, woohoo, look at that guy rolling up in that, whatever it is. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know a car to tell you that you might go, wow, I don't know. And here's the other thing that's funny is like, look, man, I live in a nice little home. Now, little compared to where we are in this from a deal. But let me tell you why I'm wealthy, not just financially, spiritually. Oh, I'm wealthy, man. My family, whoo, our family has got wealth. That wealth is built on relationships. It's built on trust. It's built on values. That's who I am. I'm not a former athlete. I'm who I am today. I'm marrying myself to the identity of fulfillment, peace, authenticity, grace, and love. Ha. Look, I'm intense, but let me tell you something, Jim. I'm so me. It is okay for me to say to you, Jim, to Kyle, to Ron, listen, I love you guys. I put my arms around you. I would hug you. By the way, I don't really care what someone thinks about me hugging you, because I love you, because you're a man and I'm a man. I could give a damn about what their opinion is of me, because I'm selling out to being me. And when I have a dream, I own the dream. I own the dream. I sell out to the dream. Your opinion cannot beat on my dream, because if your opinion beats on my dream, beats on my goal, beats on my authenticity, if you start to chisel away at that, I lose who I am. And when you don't own your dream, you begin to own someone else's dream. And here's what I'm going to tell you. There's going to be days where it gets dark, and you will not stand tall in darkness owning someone else's dream. You will not stand tall in darkness. And I learned this from my father. Stand tall in darkness, son, and raise others in the light. And I tell people all the time when they introduce me, Todd, he won 3 World Series. And I always say, guys, I didn't win anything. I was on a team that won. You see, and it's kind of like, man, it's like, but this whole identity thing is like, look in the mirror. I don't want to be identified with what I do. I want to be identified with who I am. I want to be identified as this guy, man. Let me tell you something. His wife never had to worry about him. That's me. I want to be, let me tell you, every single day I strive to be a better father to my children. I got 5 of them. I want to be a better father. Every day is, how can I, watch this. For the guys, this might be hard for you. Every day I think, how can I serve my wife? Woo. I know some of you are like, man, dude, like slow down with that one, right? No, how are you serving your spouse? How are you serving the relationships between? I want to be known as that. I want to be known as a great father. I want to be known as a great husband. I want to be known as someone, man, that when it was dark, he didn't hide. He stood tall. See, I want to be the guy that says, man, if there's a war, I'm taking that guy with me, because he'll carry me back if I don't live through it. I want to be that guy. See, and there's only one way to be that guy, and it's to be that guy. So listen, we're in the middle. I'll close on this, Kyle. And Jim, I hope I'm answering. I don't know. I'm fired up right now. And I love seeing you, Jim. And thank you for, and through Kyle, you got to be a chance, be inside my inner. So I just love, and I love when you show up. So, but the point is this, and I'll close on this and give it to Kyle, because we're way over time and stuff. And Kyle, I apologize, because people are probably hungry and you got other people to get to. But let me say this. Today, we have a private equity fund. One of our companies, we're preparing to do a multi-billion-dollar when I say multi-billion, like lots of those, IPO next year. At the same time, I have this little small restaurant concept, and I'm getting ready to connect the pokey concept around the nation. Okay, at the same time. Okay, now, the wealth from that private equity fund and these businesses and the companies and has never ever gotten in the way with who I am. So I'll give you an example. Is like, I might be the face of one of those companies and I'm a board and the chairman of another. So I'm not the face of the other. I just happen to be on the board of the one, like the one that we're going to do a public offer. And at some point I'll step off the board. And then the other one I'm the face of, but I'm not just the face of. I build the team and I connect and I do the strategy and I'm working it every day. But here's what I would tell you is I'm not, you can't put that company on me and say that's who I am. And even though I might be a CEO, I might be a chairman, I might be a board member, that's not me. And it's kind of like, you know, I just gonna focus on becoming better every day. Just like I said, and my focus is pursue growth, pursue my capacity. See, I love to see, it's like, I love to pursue getting better. For an example, Kyle said he's recording this. And by the way, I listened to when me and Kyle did the podcast before, and I listened to myself tell the stories, and I listen, and then I always say to myself is, how do I get it? What word? It's like, how can I get it better? How can I be more transparent? How can I make sure the people listening actually understand a little bit more? How can I get them to feel it like they were there with me by being a little more maybe authentic? So I'm in a pursuit, man, big one, by the way. And the pursuit is, how do I become more? How do I become a better father, a better husband, a better brother, a better son? How do I become a better friend? How do I become a better leader, a CEO, a better chairman, a better board member? How do I be a better servant? How do I be a better person in the community? And it's like, it's pursuit. And the identity is going to be the opinion of someone else watching what I do. But for me, it's just, I'm just going to get better on the things that matter. What matters to me? God first, family second. By the way, my money ain't even close to even in my top 4 or 5. And by the way, I'll watch God, family, health. That's it. That's it. That's my top 3. Guess what's after health? Right? I'm gonna tell you what, it's kind of like, all right, how about my God relationships? How about the people I connected to? How are they helping me? How am I helping them? How's Kyle serving me? How do I serve him? What can I learn from Kyle? It's like, man, oh, when are you gonna get to money, Todd? Now, money's important because it allows you to do things that you couldn't do without it, right? I know this, I understand this. But at the same time, I always tell people, if you pursue money, it will always be at the bottom. If you pursue being the best at what you do, the money, get ready, because it's going to knock you over. That money is going to run right over the top of you, pursuing to be the best at what you do in your industry. Now watch this. In order to get rich, wealthy, financially free, you don't have to become the best. You just have to pursue becoming the best. See, I pursued to be the best Major League Baseball pitcher I could be. I was just average. But I never pursued average, because if I would have pursued average, I would have never made it. I pursued. I wanted to be the best in the world. That was my pursuit. Can I be the best in the world? I'm going to pursue it. And by pursuing to be the best, I ended up lower. And let me tell you what lower was. 15 years. 3 World Series titles, Hall of Fame teammates, Hall of Fame managers, overpaid by tens of millions of dollars, being an average major league pitcher who was pursuing to become the best in the world. But I came short in that, and I became long in all of my dreams. I want you to attach me to that identity. The guy pursuing capacity every day.
What a powerful
Thank you.
insight. Let's give Todd a hand. I want to share one more thing, but let's give him a hand for this.
Thank you.
Amazing
Thank you.
Todd.
I'm honored. Thank you so much, man. I listen, I love you guys, man. I love hanging out with you. If I haven't met you, I still love you, because if you're with Kyle's group, you're lovable.
Todd, you were amazing. I know you talked about on the podcast why you wrote the book, Relentless Success. And it truly was that these are the best stories when things happen organically. Todd didn't have a business plan. He just kept going. What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
What's next? And when he wrote the book, it was truly to help people. And Todd, how can people follow you? How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
What's the best ways for people to get more Todd Stottlemyre?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. ToddOfficial.com is my website.
Can someone type this in?
Yeah,
the chat as
ToddOfficial.com. If you want to know why it's official, no one can spell Stottlemyre, and we had to come up with something. And my wife said, just say Todd Official. I'm like, does that make me officially Todd? She goes, yeah. So I'm ToddOfficial.com. On Instagram, I think it's Todd.Stott, STOTT. I think Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, it's just my name. Listen, I don't want you to just come follow me. Fair? If you follow me today, and I say today, the reason I say today is because tomorrow, I promise you, I'm going to be, what do I need to do now? What do I need to do now? How, right? But if you follow me today, I know you'll come from this group, right? And then I can follow you back. See, I'm not interested in you liking my stuff and this and that. I'm more interested in this cool connection. It's like I met Jim because of Kyle, and Jim became a part of my inner circle, not for money, for connection. So all of my social media, my website, nothing's about money. I make plenty of money. I'm all about, hey, can we connect? Can we share? You don't know where our relationship could take us in business or in life someday. Who knows? I'm going to tell you something. Some of the people I'm in business with today, I never dreamed I'd be in business with them. It happened over connection. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hey, let's connect. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, Kyle introduced me to a tycoon out here. All right. And we went to his office, and a big real estate guy. And not too long ago,
people know Ken McRory. Yeah.
Yeah. Not too long ago, I called him on the phone. I said, hey, man, can you give me 30 minutes? He said, of course, Todd, come on by. I went and met him, and he didn't know why I was coming by. I said, man, I don't know. I said, I just wanted to get around you for a minute. You see, you have a better mind than I've got. You've had more success than I've had. I go, look, I don't have an agenda. I just want to come hang out with you for 30 minutes. And I said, Ken, is that okay? He was like, man. And we started talking. Listen, I wasn't there to get anything other than be around him. It's kind of like Mickey Mantle. I didn't need anything from Mickey. I just got to be around him. And I'm going to tell you something. If you push yourself to be around others that are in different levels, and whether it's a pastor or whether it's a personal development coach, or whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's the chairman of the board, or whether it's a great family man, or a great wife, or a great woman in business that has children and has a spouse and finds a way to do it all. I don't understand how women can do it all, but they can. But I watch my wife, and I'm like, I don't know how you mother 5 children, become my partner, do all the things for me in the business, travel around, serve the children, serve me, and you do it with a smile on your face. And if I did what you did today, I'll be miserable. But women they have skills that we don't have. I don't know how I could go down that tangent, but the point is like, look, let's connect. Let's not just But so Kyle, thank you, by the way. Because
Thank you.
I went to Kyle's house and we made a connection. And then Kyle invited me to be in his books. I was like, are you kidding? I get to be in this guy's books? I get to. I'm not here. And then he called me, and I told him, hey, is it okay if we do this? And we were talking, and I was like, you mean you want me to be on that thing? Like, wow. I didn't say, hey, what do I get for it? I'm going to tell you what I get for it. I get to be Kyle's friend. By the way, that's worth a hell of a lot more than a transactional dollar that means nothing. Man. All right, I'm sorry, bro.
No, don't be sorry. Todd, you made us better today. You brought so much, the passion, the heart, the caring. And dude, I want to do this more often, first of all. So let's make that happen.
Yeah, man, anytime.
I love you, my friend. You inspire us. I feel like I'm playing at such a small level compared to your focus on how you play life and every part of it. So you inspired us today. Really appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, man, I love you. Like I say, I appreciate you. I want you guys to know what I'm going to do today. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and fail. I'm going to go push the limit. I'm going to fall on my face. Someone's going to watch me. I'm going to get up. Tomorrow, I'm going to play the game. They're still going to be sitting in the stands. I don't give a damn. I'm always like, grab a bag of popcorn, get you a soda pop, because I'm not going away. Right? God bless all of you, man. Thanks for having me.
We're going to walk alongside you. Thank you, Todd.
Man,
God
thanks,
bless
man.
you.
Thank
Let's
you
give
so
Todd a big hand. Thanks.
Man, thank you.
Appreciate you.
I'm honored, humbled, man. I love it. So thank you, Kyle. Thank
Love
you.
you,
God
my
bless
friend.
everyone.
Hey,
God
we'll
bless.
talk soon.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Woohoo! Yeah.